Welcome to MMA Fancast. I'm Luke, and I'm joined today by Nick Browne, who is the reigning LFA lightweight champ. Welcome, champ.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
It is great to have you here. You won this belt by a great 25-minute decision win about 2 weeks ago. So congratulations on that. Before we get into the specifics, talk a little bit about where you are. I see that you're in your gym and you've got your belt right next to you. So talk a little bit about what the belt means and what your gym means to you as well.
Definitely, the belt was definitely a goal of mine. I'm glad I got to go in there and crush it. It means that, I'm on the right track. I'm doing what's right. All that progress coming up was, for this belt. It's the time in that really prepared me. So, it's paying off, it looks like. And, and the gym's been great. COVID's been, a different twist with everything. So, getting people back in the gym motivated and, showing our gyms, got the right talent right here, shows it speaks volumes for itself.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, your gym name, in case people want to look it up, is All American MMA Academy. When did you either start it, take over it? Kind of what's the history of All American MMA Academy with you as the main guy?
We actually had another gym we were a part of, and it collapsed. So we got all the members together, started our own gym. I became the owner of it about a year and a half, about a year and a half. Last summer we started it. So, all the members came back, tried and true, community stuck together, and, it's been a great thing.
Well, it's wonderful to hear that you have strong support from the community of Connellsville, and a shout out to all the gyms, particularly yours, because a lot of what you've owned or what you've run in this gym has been during COVID. So I'm sure that was extra trying. What was it like for you, both running a gym during COVID, but also training for a serious belt on UFC Fight Pass? The fight was on UFC Fight Pass. It's a big deal to fight for any belt, particularly LFA's belt. So what was it also like for you getting training in during, I guess, the end of the restrictions of the pandemic? Because
Yeah, it's definitely been trying. Just to, this is my goal was to run a gym. Get as far as I could in a fight career, UFC. Be one of the best, and then just run a gym and live the life. But with COVID, it kind of like kind of gave me a test. Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to push through? And it is something I really want to do. Training was a little difficult. There was a couple times, Pennsylvania was locked down, gyms were closed, so we were training at our, friends' garages, sneaking in the gym, trying to get training in. But, we did what we had to. And, I was blessed to say, we come out on top, and, it came through for us.
yeah, absolutely. I've had a lot of fighters on, and they've talked about some of the quarantine COVID practices, whether it was sneaking into gyms or basements when the weather was still good in the summertime, backyards, parks,
Yeah.
being able to be outside, which you really can't be now. But given what fighters always say, that one thing you can control in a fight is your cardio conditioning, your ability to keep going. You obviously went 25 minutes, which is a huge deal. Outside of the UFC, to be fighting a 25-minute belt is a big deal. I know plenty of promotions that don't do 25-minute belts. They do 15-minute belts. What was it like that LFA has it at a 25-minute belt? Do you think that's something that's good for your experience level to have done that?
Definitely, I want to be one of the best in the world, and this is to prove it that, I can be ready, for 25 minutes, 15 minutes. My last showing with Egley wasn't, impressive, but, I went back to the drawing board, got a different, nutritionalist, and we worked well. Isaac Greenlee hooked me up with his girl out in California, and, I went by I was kind of hurting my own self, so I wanted to go to a specialist and got everything dialed down, stepped it up from, training after work and then midnight sometimes to, coming in before work, and then, getting really good work into 2 days, and, just hammering out and making sure my cardio was good.
Absolutely. Well, it's impressive to be able to win any professional MMA belt, particularly a 25-minute fought decision. I think decisions sometimes get overlooked, and I would say one of the Well, he's one of the at least best trash talkers. I believe it was Chael Sonnen was saying. So who knows, because but he was saying about decisions. Of course, his style was a decision heavy style, but he was saying, and he's right in a way. Decisions show more long term control in a fight. As great as knockouts are, we've seen some spectacular knockouts that a person wins a fight because of a 30-second things going well, whereas a 25-minute fight, and you have plenty of submissions. Not to say that you're a decision guy. You have 5 submissions, 2 knockouts. I'm not trying to, but what's it like to be competitive, winning a fight? Because in 25 minutes, you have to win throughout that entire 25 minutes in order to get your hand raised as a decision. What's your mindset when that fight continued to progress as it's going on, during it is unfolding?
Definitely we train to go 25 minutes. We're always hoping it doesn't go 25 minutes, but we're always going to be ready for whatever, like you said, getting a knockout in 30 seconds, a minute, submission in a minute. You got to be great for that 1 minute for 25 rounds. You got to be pretty great for 25 minutes consistently. So we definitely kept it simple, game plan simple. Take it where he opened up opportunities, but it's definitely trying, and it sees everyone's eyes that he's got conditioning for days. It might be harder to get fights after this point, but we're here to fight the best, and I believe the 25 minutes proved that I am one of the best.
Well, you absolutely are one of the best. You are ranked by Tapology all over the place. Great rankings. Don't know if you've looked at them recently, but the number 10 pro lightweight in all of the United States, number 1 in Pennsylvania, the 2nd in US Northeast. So obviously Tapology sees you as one of the best 155 pounders outside of one of the main organizations. Recently, MMA Junkie, what a great promotion organization that is. As far as news goes, they rated you as one of the top prospects, not in UFC or Bellator. What was that like going into a title fight for LFA and also getting the extra attention of what MMA Junkie was putting out there? Because they also said your opponent, I believe, was also on that list. So it could have gone either way, and you got the big win. So what was it like having that extra look at you? You're on UFC Fight Pass, the extra attention.
It definitely, I could feel the pressure, but that, that pressure makes diamonds at some point, So, with that pressure pushing me to come 2 days a week, making sure my training's top notch, training with the top guys, it put that extra pressure on me, but, it just pushed me to be a lot better and, prove myself that I was one of the best. So that pressure definitely, hit this camp, great to push me beyond my limits.
Absolutely. And as an 11-1 pro, it's important to point out that your skill set, your record is incredible. I mean, to be not in one of the top promotions, UFC, Bellator, WSOF, ONE FC, whatever it is pretty. It's pretty surprising, I guess. Do you feel surprised when you watch the UFC Contender Series? Not to try to trash UFC Contender Series, but this summer they did it during COVID, and it sounds like your record would have been great to put on there in the Contender Series.
Yeah, we had a injury that postponed us from getting on a
Okay.
Contender Series at one point. So we kind of dropped something on our foot. So it kind of snagged us back a little bit further than what we wanted. But just staying ready, winning. They can't deny me forever. So just going to keep running through people until I end up at the top.
No, absolutely. What a great mindset to have. You are running a gym in Connellsville, Pennsylvania. What made you? I think you were born in Uniontown. What made you settle into Connellsville? I actually have a friend that grew up in Connellsville. Not that he's MMA related, just I happen to know of Connellsville. But as far as it being as a known hotbed of MMA, it doesn't necessarily pop out at people. So why is Connellsville a great place for you and your gym?
Right now it was kind of, just the size of the gym was hard to find, within, even a 40 or 20, 40, 30 mile radius. This place kind of, was, just a nice central location from West Virginia where we go and train to Pittsburgh where we train a lot. So, it's kind of in a nice middle point. So, we settled here, and until we got to move again, we can move again. But this place is playing out fine. We got 6,000 square feet, so we're open to any gym that wants to stop by. But it's a great location for what we need to be right now.
Well, that's incredible to kind of see that you don't have to be a mega camp or a big city. It's wonderful to hear you say that you cross train over at Pittsburgh. I'm just going to guess that you train with Kama Worthy, as he's also a 155 pounder currently fighting the UFC. What's it like training with somebody who you may eventually, I guess, could fight in the UFC down the road?
It's definitely, great. He's got, striking game is, a little bit more advanced than me. He could teach me and I could teach him more ground game. So it definitely benefits both of us training together. And, when you're in the gym with two elite guys, you push each other, and then you get people coming in from all over the place that want to, learn from you, that want to push you to make sure you're one of the best and want to see where they're ranked at. So you're always getting the best work, no matter who you go with up there. But as far as competing against each other, we have no, if it's later on in the UFC, I mean, right out the gate is going to be a little rough, if we pair it up. But later on in the UFC, once we're there, it's business at that point. We'll fight. If we fight each other, just hug each other and remain good friends and train still after whatever happens. But I know he's a great friend right now and great allies with the gym right now. So, it's great having that definitely around to see where, we need to be for sure.
Absolutely. And it's important, I think, when people see this, that they see that a lot of gyms do get along. I know he runs the MMA Academy, you run the MMA, All American MMA Academy. I guess they're similar titles. I just realized that. But still, it's great to see you guys working well together. You mentioned getting your nutrition kind of a little bit more dialed in and figured out. Being 6 feet and fighting at 155, is this something you now feel that you're kind of better? You're better balanced at that weight class going forward?
Definitely am. I don't have to cut, a tremendous amount of weight. 145 would, was always kind of like a thought, if I get on there, it'd be way bigger. But, the cut's already hard enough to 155. And unless I, lose a limb or something, I might make 45. But, 55 is the goal right now until we get, outclassed and dominated. But, 11-1 at 155, I don't see a problem me taking, a shot at the top 10 in UFC once I'm there. So we're going to keep it this way for now.
Absolutely. And given the fact that the UFC's Premiere, I would say, at least in depth, number of main events, 155 has been the place to be in the UFC. Some of that's related to Conor. Obviously, now that he's kind of more settled into 155 after bouncing around to 45, 55, and 70, but also Habib and many others. I mean, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. I mean, there's just so many that go into it. So when you look at the UFC, why not? You've got a belt behind you and you're 11-1, highly ranked fighter. When you look at the UFC in the lightweight division, who are some guys that you think you could be comfortable? Now, I'm not matchmaking, of course, but you could be comfortable like literally fighting in as a UFC debut opportunity for you.
There isn't a whole lot, I've kind of paid attention to, but, I know there's some few guys from the Contender Series that, I'd love to, come on and just, prove that, I deserve to be there as much as they do. But as far as any names, I'm just willing to, fight anybody and everybody. So, if they have a name top, 25 in the UFC, it's going to be a great fight no matter what happens.
Absolutely. Well, that's a very mature response. I know it can be easy outside the UFC to look at the top five because they're the ones in the top 10. They're the ones that get a lot of the recognition. But when you look back at a career, even if it's Dustin, the Diamond Poirier, or Habib, or Conor came in with a lot more attention. But still, when you're new to the UFC, just getting a fight is a big deal. Getting a win, getting a fight, the rankings eventually take care of themselves. I think sometimes we've seen the rankings not always make sense. So good answer on that. Now, when you think as a spectator and a fighter, who would you say right now are the most impressive at 155? I'm saying impressive because I'm not saying best. I'm saying the fighters that you think right now in the UFC are kind of your own personal favorites or your own personal most impressive.
I mean, definitely Dustin's up there. His strikings. He can stick through it no matter if it's a bad start like he had with Connor, and he just came through. Find the he can find the openings in his opponents. Him and Oliveira just or should be fighting next, but they're definitely the top two guys that seem to come. But anybody in that top 10, it's such a close weight that it's just if they get a fight is the only reason they're going to determine who's better or not.
Yeah.
But you know, it's it's a wide open weight at this point.
It really is. And you mentioned Charles Oliveira, and obviously Tony Ferguson, lost that fight very decisively. I mean, he got really dominated and given who he is. But I still think somebody like Tony Ferguson is really showing to consider him no longer the top five, which he no longer is. But that just shows how deep 155 is. You still got Justin Gaethje out there. There's so much talent with, I mean, Tony Ferguson's legacy and legend is incredible just the way it is now. If he continues to slide, it'll be kind of sad to see it in some ways, but it's impressive how much is going on at 155, which is just fantastic. Just because we've come out of a year, and what has been your favorite fight to watch in the UFC this in the last year?
Trying to think back, but definitely, everyone who get to test Khabib, just to kind of open up, Khabib's game, getting him pushed to the limits. I think I can't remember if it was Michael Johnson that took him 3 rounds or not, or who it was, but just to watch him develop and just adversity after adversity, come through, and him and Connor, and just just to watch him just be so dominant was kind of a treat every time. But I'd love to one day be that kind of elite fighter, but there's just some people that are just born with it, and he was definitely one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe Ali Aquina, last minute replacement several years ago, did all 25 minutes with him, which was very impressive and actually looked good in some parts. Now, some people think, well, maybe Habib was more or less not fully on because, he traded up opponents and all that. I personally think you already mentioned Poirier, and I could talk way too long about him, but in a good way. I actually think he was one of the closest. He grabbed that guillotine in their fight. And had he closed his guard, I still don't know. He even said he doesn't know why he didn't close guard. When he pulled guard, he did kind of like a high and an underneath, and it was kind of a weird thing. And Habib did a roll out. But it's one of those things where I would think that that's maybe the closest Habib got to getting finished. I'm not trying to disrespect him, but I think that would have been an incredible upset had he just been more technical. Now, I'm certainly not saying Dustin isn't technical. He's an incredible fighter, but he himself said afterwards, every time they trained up against the cage, if he shoots in, if you pull guard with a guillotine, to do 2 legs up and over the hips, to suck down the hips. And then in the fight he did. How important is it to you to really be technical? I know that's an obvious question, but when you see it at the world stage up there in Abu Dhabi, when Dustin was fighting Habib January of last year, and he even said afterwards, that's a technical issue he always gets right in training. How important is it for you to get it right in training, and how difficult is it to transition into a live fight?
It definitely can be, a really hard transition sometimes, but the more you go over it, the more, you learn, 12 moves, and you're doing, 12 moves, 100 times maybe. But if you can do that one move that you love, 100,000 times, that's going to be your go-to. And, he might not have, stuck to that, but, that transition is definitely, wearing. You're getting punched in the face rather than, as hard as the other guy can. In training, you're going 40, 30%, you're not getting that full torque of a punch or full takedown power that someone's trying to rip your head off in a fight. But that transition is definitely, big, to keep that technical, especially, going 25, I tried to stay technical as I could, but I seen myself, while looking back, seeing the openings, and I'm like, oh man, that doesn't look great. But, in training, I can hit them, my hands are up and I can hit those nice transitions. But in a fight, it's definitely, the more you fight, the more you get to learn about yourself.
Absolutely. And it's always important. I think people have said it. You have to learn from what might not go great in a fight, and then have a short memory and say, okay, what can I do about next time? Because for you to look at your 25-minute fight, which was an incredible performance for LFA. You won the belt. You're looking great to hopefully go to a level with the UFC. You would think that they'd be looking to pull you in. I know 155 is really deep, but obviously it can be challenging as you as a fighter to look back and see round 4 and 5. Clearly, you're not as fresh as round 1. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. But as a coach, what do you like to see improve the most in the people you train? Whether it's attitude, whether it's technique, whether it's conditioning. What do you, as a coach, what do you like to see improve or change the most in whoever you train?
Definitely whenever somebody's about to give up on a position or they're losing in that position and they just kind of like, well, I'm stuck here. It's that, that mindset of like, I need to get out. I need to, improve this, even if it's, a small explosion of 5 seconds to get a little bit better position. But, as soon as that mentality of like, I'm not losing this position, I'm not losing against the cage, I'm not losing stand up. As soon as they can start to realize that, then, you see the gains, you see the technique go up, and, you see them, pulling stuff out of the hat, which, you didn't think they had. But, as soon as they get that mindset of, I'm not losing any position, or, I did this wrong and let me fix it immediately. It's that mentality of a push that I'm not going to lose.
Yeah, that's a great mental and physical. It combines both the mental with the physical. I've seen more or less in training, but you've seen it in MMA fights where it's a live fight and somebody kind of gets to a bad position. Let's say side control, and you see the fighter underneath kind of like sigh, like just literally, because it's frustration. It's hard to fight the hips. It's hard to turn back in, those type things. And they know mentally, because they've been trained, that they're in a bad position or whatever it is. And I think you're right as a coach that it's completely understandable that a fighter yourself, any athlete, would feel frustrated or even sort of like defeated in those positions. And when they can learn, or you can learn, what can you do? I always think, particularly in jiu-jitsu, it's not about going from a bad position to a good position. It's about going from a bad position to a slightly less bad position, and slowly, because there are some really great sweeps and some really great things that can transition, but most of those transitions do not just happen instantly. It's small positional things, which is good. For you, you were an All-American boxer. And so that's at the collegiate level. So how did that happen? Where were you going to school? I know some schools have boxing, but I didn't realize it was ranked at the All-American level. So can you talk us through that? I know that's years ago for you, but I was just curious when I saw that.
Yeah, I mainly went to Shippensburg University for wrestling. My coach at the time, Irwin Bramley, was good friends with the coach up there, and I went through there with a high school competition, and I really enjoyed the coaching staff. And we went up there, and I kind of thought, like, where am I going after high school? Is it going to be a college degree, or but I really loved wrestling, and I was like, man, I got a boxing team. I'd like to transition to MMA after high school, so get some boxing down. I had the wrestling. I critiqued my boxing. Became an All-American. Knew I could stand up with some really good guys, and then after college, I set out for my MMA career, and haven't looked back. But definitely blessed that college had wrestling and boxing. Was definitely a big key to my MMA success right now.
Well, it is great to hear that. I mean, I think a lot of programs don't have collegiate level boxing, so that's great. Shout out to Shippensburg, a great, probably not overly well known outside of Pennsylvania, but I think it's a great state school there in Shippensburg. So that's cool that you had that experience going to them. When you look going forward, when you're all ready for your next fight, what are you looking for you? This is your time to, whether it's talking about the UFC or whether it's talking about just what you want to see in your next opponent. The opponent you just beat, I can't say his last name, Arthur Estralius or something like that. He was 12-4. I butchered it, didn't I? Yeah. But anyhow, he was 12-4. I mean, you're fighting a guy with 16 pro fights. 12-4 record is great. So you're giving yourself really, really good opponents. And so what are you looking for in your next fight?
Winning the title, there's usually a call up to UFC or Bellator. But, if I have to defend it again, I'm not going to be mad. I definitely want to keep showcasing what I have, for, the UFC one day. But, I'd love to get a fight in, or, just staying active was kind of a big thing, is why, it's taken so long to get to this point. I couldn't find fights. I couldn't stay healthy, but, I'm on a healthy track. I'm on an active track. So, it's just staying active, and hopefully COVID doesn't keep shutting stuff down. But, I'd like to, definitely push to be one of the best. And, I'm ready to face any challenge, and, like the pressure, of, the next big prospect, is definitely pushing on my shoulders to push me forward to be better. So I'd love to have like a tough test, if it's defend a belt, or, get that UFC debut going. But, I'm ready for anything and anyone at this point.
Well, I believe you really are. Your record speaks for itself and stands very tough. The opponents you face, the fact that people don't know more about you is a bit of a disappointment. I think it's great that you were on UFC Fight Pass and got to be viewed by people that are UFC fans. LFA has been doing a great job kind of showing the just below UFC. You'd hate to even say below UFC, because I think, as LFA has been showing, a lot of their champs have jumped right into the UFC without any problems whatsoever. So it's great to see that. What was it like traveling? I know it's a small question, but what was it like traveling from Pennsylvania to Kansas during COVID? Was it a bit of a mental hurdle to deal with, traveling during these restrictions, or was it kind of good to get experience traveling in kind of weird conditions? Because a lot of what the UFC is doing now is some crazy travel, over to Abu Dhabi and all over the place. So what was it like to travel during the restrictions and know that this is kind of where we are in the world with COVID?
Yeah, it's definitely a little weirder than what we traveled before, because I had my first fight with LFA, before COVID, with Trey Ogden, and we flew out to Kansas before, and it was kind of just the normal whereabouts. But with COVID, it's definitely slower, more safety involved, but and there's also more space involved, so you're not cramped on this little tiny airplane. Sometimes you got a room, you got rows missing, it's a lot more room, and kind of more relaxed, actually. So it's kind of safer. Everyone's taking their time and just being more cautious. So it's not, not any weirder, but it is a little bit more relaxing, if
Okay.
you could say that.
Yeah, well, that's very wise. If you could say to anyone who's not currently training at your gym, maybe they have some martial arts background, maybe they don't at all, why should they come? Why should they start MMA, and more particularly, why should they come to your gym and, let's say, start in the beginner classes?
Definitely starting any kind of like martial arts is going to benefit you, your health. You're out in a parking lot and you see some, sketchy fellas around your vehicle. You got that confidence, that confidence itself. Rather, if it's just, I got a little bit of wrestling, I can take care of myself, I can defend my friends, family, children. It's that confidence that you carry, that chip on your shoulder, that's going to, deter other people, and it's just going to give you, a leg up on life. But, coming here, we definitely have a big facility, so we have nice, space for, COVID, safety training procedures. So, it's definitely nice in that aspect. But, coming here, locally, we're, Pittsburgh's the next closest place up. So it's a good, medium ground. And, just the fighters that come out, we've had great winning records. So, we're doing the right thing, teaching the right stuff. We have great, people that come in and help us. So it's definitely a good family organization we have here. So, if you find yourself looking to box, wrestle, or anything, this is definitely the place to be. So.
Well, I think that convinced me if I lived closer, and I hope somebody will watch this and recognize that it is a great time, even with COVID. You're obviously following the safety protocols, but even with COVID, it's a good time to get connected, both with the confidence, and I would also throw another C word in there: community. I think there's something really unique. You've been wrestling since you were 4, so you're kind of probably used to it. But I think in a lot of sports, when it becomes a one-on-one sport like wrestling, boxing, any of the martial arts, there's a community that might not exist in football. Football is a great community, but there's a lot more. Oh, I'm taking your starting spot, or you're taking my starting spot. Where in wrestling, while there is some of that, in martial arts, it's really about improving the other person. And I think a lot of people are shocked with how friendly and at least it should be, how friendly and a family environment MMA really is.
Yeah, it definitely is. It just gives you, that confidence and that community. We are a little family here, and we support each other, help. Your training partner is your most important person. Without that, you're nothing. You're hitting a heavy bag, which is gets you so far, and you don't know what you're doing wrong. You got your friend becomes lifelong friend of training with you, and improving. You both improve to push yourself. Josh Frem just fought for the main event, knocked this guy out 3 knockouts in a row, which is amazing. But we were in here daily grinding, pushing each other, making sure we were going to be some of the best, and it's panned out perfectly. We pushed each other so far that we no matter where we go, we're going to be leagues above the rest because we started out here just helping and grinding.
Yeah, it's a great connection to Josh Frem. He's now living and training out of Colorado, but I think it's important that you see what your work in the beginning, what your efforts have done for yourself and also done for somebody else. I think a big aspect of MMA is seeing success in the people that you've known before they were successful. That's something that is just so priceless as a coach, as a sparring partner, as a trainer. And you had said at the beginning of this, when I talked about your gym, and it's a great setup you gave for the interview. It's my favorite setup from all the interviews I've done because it shows your belt and also your pride and joy being your gym. But you mentioned that your real goal is being a coach and a trainer and a gym owner. And why is that for you? Obviously, the UFC stuff I think will come. I think you do have a great career ahead of you. You're still young and you've got an incredible record, credible skill set. But why is it for you that running the gym, being a coach is sort of your end goal?
Definitely, wrestling. I always love to help coach. So whenever I graduated high school, I came back and helped coach wrestling for a little while, and it was just giving back was just such a joy, and that made pretty much me happy. That was my making other people happy was my driving point to be happy. So just giving back to this community, giving back to the kids, teaching them the right values. I help run a youth group at my church, so I'm definitely always looking to give back and just teaching why to be kind and nice and defend other people. And this is perfect condition to learn how to support one another and just better yourself while helping others. So it's just a win for everybody at this point. So definitely love coaching and giving back.
Well, that is incredible that you're doing that. I think it's beautiful that you're a youth leader at your church. I did that for several years in my past. It's a great opportunity to recognize that there are bigger things than fighting. I mean, that's obvious, but there are bigger things. And I think Christian-wise, being a believer in Jesus is far exceeding, that's quoting a Bible verse, far exceeding and outweighing anything that you can earn or achieve on this earth. St. Paul said to fix our eyes not on what is seen, because what is seen is temporary. And that is great to have that belt next to you. That's an incredible goal on this earth. There's nothing wrong with going after those things. But as Paul said in 2 Corinthians, it's to fix our eyes on what is not seen, because the faith pursuit isn't really seen. It can't really be held, but it's the eternal pursuit of our souls. So I think that's beautiful that you are combining your love for coaching and also your love for Christ in your church. I mean, that's just a beautiful thing. I think particularly as a male role model, being a fighter, being a champion, to show the humility and to show the value of repentance and trust in Christ is more powerful than if you were just a fighter and just talked about how to be a fighter. So I think that's wonderful. Yeah. Well, hey, that was great. I loved how our conversation got to Jesus there. That is just beautiful. What are your wrap up thoughts or something you want to say towards the end of the interview? I've been very thankful for your time coming on the show just a couple weeks after your huge fight. And it's always a privilege and a pleasure to meet a fellow believer and brother in the Lord. So that's just an honor and opportunity. But I want to give you the opportunity to end the interview any way you want to.
I'd definitely like to thank you for having me on here and all the opportunities I've had. Definitely, being, pressured into being, the top prospect, definitely put a target on my back, and also, a big shove on my back to just prove to the world that, I can still be a believer in faith and still push to, what my goals are. And just, again, the community here and at church have just been, mind blowing, the support I've had. So, I want to thank everybody for that. Definitely, a couple sponsors, Suavecito for believing in me, Jolt Bike for believing, coming here. They actually train here. The family trains here, great people. TGB Supplements of Trevor Banco out there, and, local guy, and, Tattoo Jake Gordon and Jake Roslin for hooking me up with, massages and, daily, therapy sessions. But, it's just a great community, the MMA. We can travel anywhere and just be welcome in the state of PA right now, and just, just going everywhere and see all the wrestlers, that's just the basis of PA. So anytime you come to PA, you're going to get, some of the best wrestling in the world. So definitely invite anyone to the gym, PA, come out, hang out with us, more than welcome. And just thank, LFA for this opportunity, for the belt, believing and pushing, the best at me, just to prove that I am one of the best. So I want to thank everybody for that.
Well, it's been incredible having you on the show. You've been listening to Nick NyQuil Browne, and I can't wait to see what's next for you in your career. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.